Trent Alexander-Arnold is leaving Liverpool this summer. The worst kept secret in football is out. He will generate hatred from some corners of the Reds fan base, while other Copites will recognise what he brought to comfortably the most successful Liverpool side of the last 35 years. The rival fans and pundits who have spent the duration of Alexander-Arnold's career saying he's an offensive liability will inevitably delight in Liverpool losing a player of his quality. Such is football discourse. A talent of such rare ability, #generational, will always spark division along already tribal lines. The issue for Liverpool is how to replace a player who has passing strengths possessed by only a very few men in world football. In all likelihood they don't, simply because they can't. The way in which the Reds' right flank operates will have to change next season. The next part of the Trent replacement strategy is to decide whether Conor Bradley can fulfil the role in a fashion which works for Arne Slot. This certainly isn't a given. At first there appears there will be a drop in creativity. Bradley's career expected assists average is half of what Liverpool's number 66 has put up this season, and that's below his output in the last 3 campaigns. However, the creativity gap shrinks on open play, key passes alone per understat, which is more encouraging. Alexander-Arnold has averaged 0.25 per 90, whereas Bradley across his limited career is at 0.17. That's not a huge drop-off, and when you look at this data, you will see that Alexander-Arnold's weakest seasons for creativity were his first 2 as a first-team regular, so there has to be hope that Bradley can improve as time goes on. A radar comparison of the 2 Liverpool right-backs over the last year highlights the differences in their respective games. Once you take a closer look at these numbers, you can see how they overlap in different ways, which might mean the loss of Alexander-Arnold needn't prove too detrimental. We think of Bradley as a young up-and-comer, yet it's remarkable to compare his career to Alexander-Arnold's at the same stage. By the end of Trent's age 21 season, he had 179 Liverpool appearances under his belt, with Premier League and Champions League winners' medals in his pocket. While Bradley will pick up a title this season, he won't have been anywhere near as influential as the number 66, with his tally of games for the Reds less than a third as many at the same career point. If the Reds view the Northern Ireland international as Trent's heir, they will be backing potential over proven. The most striking aspect of the comparison radar is that the 2 players occupy opposite percentile points for progressive passes and carries. Where Alexander-Arnold is at 99 and 50 for those respective metrics against other fullbacks in the Big 5 leagues of Europe, his young apprentice is at 57 and 98. Both are eminently capable of getting the ball forward, just in different ways. In volume terms, Trent has the edge. His combined figures deliver 10.1 progressive actions per 90 minutes, with Bradley behind him on 8.1. If a shortfall of 2 doesn't sound many, the team has averaged 71.6 per match this term, with over 2/3 of them from passes. Alexander-Arnold's strength is more pertinent to Liverpool's needs. Even so, there is a good balance to Bradley's ball progression. If you look for defenders in England, France, Germany, Italy or Spain who have averaged at least 3.5 progressive actions per 90 for both passes and carries since the start of last season, the Reds youngster is only one of 13. He might have played the fewest minutes of the group, but only 3 have a better rate for the ball-carrying aspect. The other on-ball point of interest from the radar concerns the player's general passing. Alexander-Arnold attempts more, whereas Bradley has the higher completion rate. As the former tries more magical things with the ball, that's easy enough to explain away. In pure retention terms, the England international has completed just 1.4 more passes per 90 of the 2 players over the last year. It's nothing. Arne, kill them with passes slot, won't mind having a more cautious passer in the team at times. Nonetheless, Liverpool will undoubtedly need to replace Alexander-Arnold's passing output. To do so, they will need to find close to 9 progressive passes per 90 with the same level of passes into the final third, though those numbers do cross over. If we set a bar of 0.3 for expected assists in the passing model, as that is Trent's Premier League career mark, we can see which players have achieved this in the last 8 seasons of football in Europe's top 5 leagues. It has been done 15 times by players who featured for at least 1,800 minutes in one of the big leagues. We can see them here sorted by their age, and the list contains players we would expect to see, not least Toni Kroos and Alexander-Arnold himself. Just below him on the list is Angelo Stiller, a Stuttgart midfielder who has been linked with Liverpool. Perhaps he is the man that Liverpool have identified to fulfil this gap that Alexander-Arnold's exit will leave. Across their Premier League careers, the duo have very similar level of involvement in possession sequences, at least according to Understat's model. It doesn't seem possible that Bradley has the better figures for XG chain and XG build-up, which measure the expected goals of possessions in which players are involved, yet that is what the data says. This unlikely outcome is probably a quirk of Bradley getting substitute minutes against tired opponents, or sometimes starts in easier matches when Alexander-Arnold needs a rest. Nonetheless, there may not be much of a drop-off in build-up involvement following the passing of the baton. It could be Mohamed Salah who experiences the most notable change. Where Alexander-Arnold plays long passes to set him running into space, Bradley is likelier to carry the ball to deliver it in person. Having recently asked what sort of team do Liverpool want to be in an article in reference to their left-back pursuit, it is an appropriate query here too. The defensive stats in the radar show the perils of comparing percentiles. The two right-backs have broadly similar numbers for most metrics, albeit Alexander-Arnold looks to be much stronger for interceptions. The difference in their respective rates per 90? Just 0.41, roughly 1 every 2.5 games. You can ignore that. The off-ball statistic of greater interest concerns pressing. Per Fantasy Football Scout, Bradley has made 22.6 pressures per 90 in the league since the start of 2023-24, which is more than Alexander-Arnold on 11.7 and Andy Robertson 10.2 combined. Even if Conor cools, he will likely remain ahead of their figures even from their younger days. A team as dominant as the Reds will always look to what players can do on the ball first though. Is Bradley ready to step up, or will Liverpool just be coping in Alexander-Arnold's absence? He won't be better, just different. Sometimes that's no bad thing.